Hello there, EDF friends. On this video I wanted to talk about initial impressions of Earth Defense Force Iron Rain. As you may know, I love the mainline EDF games. As you can see, I made a dedicated channel to it. As far as the offshoot Insect Armageddon, I thought it was okay, but it was definitely too short to really keep my attention. But it had some unique classes in it, and it was pretty fun for a while at least. First of all, I'm going to cover in this video, is this even an EDF game? More importantly, is it any good? First, let me start with all the positives, and then I'll cover the negatives at the end. First, right off the bat, I love the art direction. I think it looks amazing. I think the explosions look really good. There's even, I was concerned there wasn't going to be damage marks on the enemies as you attack them, or, body physics. Kind of like Insect Armageddon, where the bodies would just disintegrate, which I didn't care for. However, there is good news. You can see, attack marks on the enemy's bodies when you hit them. You can see blood on the ground. You can see their bodies bounce around and stuff. So that's good news. I'm pretty happy about that. I mean, it's not as crazy as EDF 5, but it's a lot better than Insect Armageddon, so that's a good news. As far as the missions, the early missions, I'm about probably 8 hours into the game. I think I'm on mission 12 or 13 out of the 52. As far as the early missions, they have very good early missions. I'm very impressed with just how unique the missions are, and just a good enemy variety. There's a decent number of enemies on screen. It hasn't reached EDF 5 yet, but it's still early. But it's still an EDF game in the fact that you do see a lot of enemies hoarding you, which is pretty good. As far as, like I said, the enemies or the mission variety, though, the mission variety is very impressive. Just the different locations you go to, it's actually better than EDF 5 in that respect. So we'll see how it goes longevity, but early on it's very good. Let's move on to the weapons now. Of course, that's very important in EDF game. There are a very good variety of guns that I've seen so far. You have stuff such as like status effects, like freezing, or proc weapons. Like I seen one gun where has a chance for one bullet to do 1,000 damage, I think it was, and it does like an explosion. It can proc that bullet, a special bullet. Some weapons have like active reloads where it allows you to reload a little faster if you hit the right timing. And some interesting weapons just overall. I mean, it's still early, but I've seen some pretty cool weapons like swords, like laser crescent blades, which is one of my favorite weapons now. It's the laser machine guns, but it shoots like a crescent blade that kind of moves up and down as it fires out. Homing machine guns, satellite beams. It's not, as far as I've seen, as far as like air raids, it's not like, I haven't seen like air raids necessarily, but I think there is some items that are actually air raids instead of weapons. But there is like a satellite gun that I'm not sure what that's gonna turn into eventually. But it reminds me of the satellite blaster, not the blaster, but like the one single shot that comes in for air raider on EDF 5. There's a weapon like that in the game. But yeah, as far as the weapons now, you buy them with credits instead of the enemies dropping random weapons. So it's reminiscent of Insect Armageddon in that respect, where you save up money and buy the weapons you want to buy, which I personally don't mind, honestly, at the end. And it has like a unique rating system at the end of the mission, and it kind of ranks you on time, like damage taken, if you used any items, etc., like stuff like that. And then if you use a lot of items, or if you take a lot of damage, or you take too long, then it subtracts that from your possible gold earned, which is what you use to buy guns. So it encourages you to not overuse items, and encourages you to just play efficiently and effectively to get a higher ranking, which gives you more gold, which I think is kind of interesting, kind of cool. And I mean, there are healing drops in the game, like the green gems on the ground, but there's also healing items you can take into the battle with you. So, and then now there is an item system, which is different for sure. And each item is rated a certain point rating. It's like, say for example, if you take a healing item, that healing item costs 10 points, and each class has a max number of points they can take into battle. So like the trooper can carry the most items into battle, I believe. He has like a max rating of 160 points total, and like if you take a stealth, that's 10 out of the 160. Whereas the wing diver has less items that she can take into battle, and so forth. Different classes have different point ratings they can take. And so that's kind of interesting. And there are revive items now. Like you can't just revive unlimitedly, but you take an item that will allow you to revive a set number of times, and each class can take their own revive items. So that's interesting. I don't mind that necessarily, because it sounds like you can each take, a set number of revives, which you should, I would think that 6 or 5 or whatever the max was going to be. I'm not sure what it is. Can be enough if you have, multiply that by 6 people. Also, vehicles are now items, and turrets and impulses, grenades, those are all items which you take into battle, and once again it subtracts from your overall rank if you use them, so it kind of encourages you to be more careful with them, which I don't mind. The cosmetics also unlock at the end of missions, which is cool, so there's always something new to customize your character. And there are actually a lot of variety of cosmetics I've seen so far, and colors as well. Like for each armor, there's like different armor sets, and there's different outfits, and they each can have different colors. You can't change a color yourself, but there's preset colors. But I'm pretty happy with the cosmetics. I like how there's something to unlock, to change the way your character looks. And speaking of cosmetics, there's a decent character customizer. It's not, it's not like super detailed, but there's like 12 different faces, there's like 15 different hair, there's different body types, there's different armors. You can adjust armor for your face, for your chest, for your legs, and then also there's like accessories like glasses, eye patches, stuff like that. So there's a decent, you'll probably find that you can make your character look decently different from other people, which is interesting. Also, another strange thing is you buy health increases now with gold they drop from the mission. So like you start out with 500 health, and then you can unlock the next health, which is 600, and you have to buy that, then 700, and so on. I noticed though that if you buy, like say if you're at level 1 health and it goes up to level 21, I think, or something like that, like say you save money and unlock level 10, it gives you, it's better to save up and unlock like a larger jump than to just unlock 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, because you'd be spending more gold that way. So I would recommend, unlocking, going from 1 to like, 5, or 1 to like 10 if you can. But anyway, let's move on to missions now. There's, so far, like I said earlier on, there's great mission variety. I'm very impressed with just the different locations. Like, it feels very different, the locations you're going from mission to mission. So I'm very cool about that. I actually think it's better than 5. Has some cool weather effects, lighting effects, so I'm very happy with that. Also, constantly new enemies and scenarios on each mission, which is interesting, keeps it interesting. And that's really all I have for positives for missions so far. Like I said, I'm on mission 12, I think, something like that. Last of all, classes, let's cover. I will be releasing an overview of the class video here soon, probably in a day or two. But just quickly, they feel very unique versus EDF 5, which I actually prefer. I'd rather not just have a copy paste. I like, if this is a different offshoot of EDF, I would like different classes. And like for example, Fencer, he actually feels like a tank in this game. He's slow, but he has high defense. He can dual wield, and he has like a shield he can hold up. Not like Insect Armageddon exactly, but it's a little similar to that. And Wing Diver feels different. She feels more like a glider to me, if that makes sense. Like, you have less control of the air, but you're more flying and gliding, which is definitely different. It definitely feels different. I mean, you still can fly, but it's hard to explain, but she does feel different. And Trooper, the Ranger, is still a more challenging gameplay experience, which I kind of like. So he has the dashes, he has a sprint, but he's definitely not as mobile as the other guys, or as tanky as the Fencer. And Prowl Rider, oh my goodness, so fun. Like I said, I'll be making a video here soon of the class breakdown, but yeah, very fun class. And also it's decently high difficulty as well so far from my experiences. I mean, of course, it feels very different. I'm trying to get used to the game and the controls still, but I was struggling on normal on some missions, so I don't mind that. I'm pretty happy with that. Alright, now let's move on to the negatives. And there are some negatives. The first thing that jumped out to me is the voice lines. It definitely feels like Insect Armageddon and not EDF, in my opinion. It's kind of disappointing. EDF, to me, like the way they I was thinking about it, how do they capture EDF voices and lines? And to me, I think what it is the EDF soldiers and everybody in the game are very innocent and childlike almost. They're very genuine. They're not sarcastic to each other, but they're very genuine, and almost like too honest sometimes. Like if you ask a kid something, they may tell you like something you don't want to hear because it's so honest. Like it's kind of like that responses. And of course and then the soldiers aren't very talented, but they think they are. And then of course last of all, I think the coolest idea they ever did was random questions, random answers. That just makes such perfect cheesy dialogue that's not forced. And that's to me is what is EDF dialogue is. And so far I haven't really laughed. I'm only laughed once that I can remember in the dialogue, and that was Dr. Mendel's voice acting. It's very very extreme, I'll say. But unfortunately, like I said, it feels very much like Insect Armageddon, and I just don't really care for that. But I mean, it doesn't break the game for me. But if you are in EDF series for the voices, then you're gonna be a little disappointed, I think. The weapons, another thing negative is the weapons are mixed very low. Most of the weapons so far that I've had don't feel very impactful because of the sound design. I mean, you'd be surprised how important sound design is for weapons, of how to make them feel strong. I mean, the weapons still kill enemies fine. It's not the problem that they're weak. It's that they don't have that impactful sound. It's almost like I said, the mix is too low. It's too quiet. They need to increase the sound of the guns so you can hear them. However, there are some other ones that are really, really good and feel really, really impactful. So it's kind of strange how that is. I mean, it's still early on. They may just feel weak because they are weak, the weak guns. But yeah, it's unfortunate. But it doesn't break the game. But it's one of those things where you wish, like I said, go back to listen to EDF 5. The guns feel very good. Sound very good in that game. Another negative is the early missions are very short. Like 5 to 10 minutes, some of them. I mean, that's fine if you have a lot of missions, but if there's only 52 in the game, that could be, a little negative on how short the game is. However, they are getting longer. It may just be because they were, I'm still early on. It's only, I'm only the first 12 missions or so. So they may actually get longer later on. But, and they are, and actually, like I said, they are getting longer as I go. But I was a little concerned to see a couple missions that were 5 minutes. I will make another video later, of course, when I've played the entire game and have more detailed responses. But and then another negative is the maps are pretty small. I'd say they feel about 1/3 of the size of EDF 5. And there's actually a few maps that are like arena sized, kind of like that DLC Pack 2 Mission 9 of EDF 5 where you're on that island. There's actually some that are that small where actually could be more challenging, which I imagine it gets pretty chaotic. It's fine with me. I do prefer, of course, always like larger maps, but I think this might encourage less running away and more having to deal with the enemies, which can be a good thing, I think. But yeah, it's a little disappointing with the mission sizes, or the map sizes. But it's like I said, it's fine. It's fine to me. There is no weapon upgrade system, which I loved in EDF 5, but that also is fine. I understand this is a different game. There is still a decent amount of items to unlock, weapons to unlock, and stuff like that. The story's okay. I'm still early, of course, but nothing. I mean, like I said, the set pieces are pretty cool. The locations are pretty cool, but I just missed the EDF cheesy storyline or cheesy voice acting. Another negative is you can't map your buttons like the other EDF games. I mean, that's a small thing, but just wanted to mention it. And last of all, is this an EDF game? I think that's what most people want to know, and it really depends on what an EDF game is to you. Like I said, if it's mainly the voice lines and the voice acting, then I would say no. But if it's more about the chaotic action with like unlimited ammo against insects in large number, then I would say yes. So far, it's feeling pretty decent as an EDF game. Just as a game overall in general, I'm having a lot of fun with it so far. I'm definitely enjoying it. I like the different mix to the EDF brand. I wouldn't mind an every other year thing, honestly, where 1 year would be the mainline EDF, and then the next year different teams working on this series and continues this series. So I don't mind it, honestly. The game is longer than Insect Armageddon for sure, even though it's early. I can pretty much tell that. So there is longevity, like I said, to the game. There's a lot of cosmetics to unlock, a lot of weapons to unlock, and the difficulties, of course, getting through all the difficulties is going to be interesting. There is a multiplayer mode, which I haven't tried yet as well. It's almost like a PvE, VP multiplayer mode. so that might be interesting. I'm not sure yet. I do recommend this as a buy though, as it does have longevity and decent number of missions this time. And like I said, it's the classes are very fun, especially the Prowl Rider. That's going to be very interesting to get talented at that class and getting really good at it. I think it's going to be very fun. So yeah, that's pretty much my initial experiences. I just wanted to share that with you because for some people were waiting to see how the game felt and just what I thought overall. And it's definitely better than Insect Armageddon, I will say that. And I'm having a blast with it. And I think it has enough longevity to warrant the price of a buy, honestly. So like I said, I'll come with you. I keep planning on making videos of this game, of course. I will be doing more in-depth things and different features of the game and explaining things. So hope you stay tuned and enjoy this. Hope you found this helpful. And remember, EDF doesn't leave a man behind, ever. And if you're interested in ways to support the channel, please consider joining the membership thing with the join button or in the description below, the link, or sharing the channel with someone, as it does help financially. It's very much appreciated. Thanks a lot.